Welcome back to your crown error. It's 90s day at work. It's 90s 90 days. It's 90 days at it's 90s. Hit the fit. Got my hot pink on and all that stuff. But anyway, so I went down memory lane today because we got to go take our group picture in a little bit, and I wanted to come in and do a live about the memories that started flooding in for the 90s. So in the 90s, I had my son. He was born in 89. So all of 90s, I was pretty much a single parent to some extent. Let's say at least 7 years. I was a single parent. I was with his father for the first couple of years, and that didn't work out. But anyway, all the all that stuff is in the journal. It's in this journal. This diary journal, I started when I started this in 87. So when I was a senior in high school, because I graduated in 88, and I ended it in the 90s. So it took, it took, it is a representation of my mindset and my thoughts, my highs, my lows, my confusion, my mindset at this age. And I was just flipping through some of the 90s, some of the things that popped out. I was in California. So in 94, I was reading about the earthquake in my journal slash diary. I was reading about being hurt and how my son's father, had another child. But I had already left. We were engaged. I had already left, but he just like, boom, met somebody else and had another child, and how I was hurt. Um, how much I was very active. I'm a Scorpio, you know what kind of activity I was doing then. But also the worries, and this is the whole point of this video, the worries that I had for males. Um, in that time and phase of my life, how do I want to say this? I was more concerned of the life of men for them to live. It was a lot of concerns about, because back then in Los Angeles, gangs and things of that nature. I grew up in all of that. So people would disappear, literally disappear. Like they would be at school and then they would not be at school anymore. And you'd be like, what happened? Are they, if they were ditching or they just stayed home or they went to jail or they got killed, you know? And it's sad. Oh, I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry. The 90s was very emotional. And I did not know that until like right now. Very, very emotional about staying alive. Staying alive and owning your emotional space. Back then, I didn't know it was my emotional space. Back then, I just wanted like peace and safety. And so when I went to college, that was my main goal, was to make sure that my son would not die on the streets of LA. That was my mantra. My mantra, people. My son would not die on the streets of LA. Oh, no, 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 no. As a black woman, as a mother that lived in the hood, so to speak, not the bad hood, I would say I was a working class. My grandmother was working class, my mother, all that stuff. I was never like in the projects or nothing like that. But my goal was to raise a child, a male child, as much as possible where he would not die in the streets of LA. And that is still, I am still protecting my son and my daughter. And they're both grown. They're like, my son is in his 30s and my daughter's in middle of her 20s. But I still have that mentality that it is still my responsibility to keep them alive. And that is not my responsibility anymore. Yes, it's still a part of who I am as a parent. But I ain't gonna say the burden, but the main decision of my life now in my crown era is not about keeping my children alive, because they can keep themselves alive now. They are more than capable. They work, they drive, they are alive. They're doing their thing as adults. But there's been this disconnect for me that I'm still trying to keep them alive. And I'm not sure if that is appropriate. Am I hindering them, or am I hindering myself for different freedoms that I can explore and utilize in life? So, going down memory lane today in my journal, and as well as for work going into the 90s, I'm going to do some releasing of Angie. I noticed that as well, that the majority of I scripted Angie. You guys are saying that backwards, but that's what everybody knew me as Angie. They normally, no one called me Angelina. My best friend called me Angelina, but everybody else, every lover, teacher, people call me Angie, which that is part of an old persona of who I am. The wild woman, so to speak, the wild young woman. And she's going to always be in there. And I love her so much because she got me here and she kept me alive. But somewhere in between, when I graduated from college and professors started calling me by my name, or Miss Hunt or Angelina, there was a shift into maturity. And that's important. That's important to recognize the shift for myself, as well as the shift in my own identity, that that's real. I know people who have shifted and changed their names. I know that was really popular in the late 70s and 80s, where people will change their names to either African names or Arabic names if they became Muslim, like my mother. My mother was Sister Samaya, but she was not born that. She was born Heroise Renee. And I mean, she still maintained that name, but however, people knew her as Sister Samaya because of that's who she became. So she also had a lot of names. She had Renee, she had Peaches when she was a Black Panther, she had Sister Samaya, she has um, when she got married twice, she had two last names, and I'm seeing the different identities that she's crossed over within herself. And I think about my grandmother as well, from her marriage, divorce, people calling her Candy, and she was a teacher, so they called her Mrs. Moore. But there's something about a name, and there's something about your identity of who you choose and why you choose that and how you accept those names. So, like here, I'm Coach Hunt because I want to come and utilize my authenticity to you to show that everyone does not have to be what social media or interest media, as they say now, is. People can come and be real, be authentic. What you see is what you get with me. And that is most important for me as a Scorpio, as a woman in her crown era, and then utilizing my intuition. That is so very important. So going down memory lane, for those of you who are in your crown era, see who you were back then, look at those pictures, reflect on that, and allow that version of you to rest, And that's something that is a theme from yesterday when I was in my meditation. I wanted more peace and rest within my mind space. And I'm very happy and thankful that I'm still getting the wisdom from that meditation that I did not think I was getting. And I call this moment like that, it's just drips, it's waves and drips of information that just follows through, so that I know that I'm embodying a new era in love for myself that is peaceful, that is resilient in a way that not for pressure or for safety or for survival, but resilience into the next step and the next stone on my own mountain that I'm climbing. So yeah, I love you guys so much. I just wanted to come in and just say that it's really not a teaching method. It's really more so me wanting you to encourage you. When was the last time that you looked at a diary for yourself and saw who you were 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and not want to be that person, but to thank that person to get you to from getting you here to there, from getting you here to there. For all the men who I've ever loved, may they continue to be in safety. And I no longer hold the responsibility of anyone's safety but myself. And that safety, I know that I am because God says that I am. I'm whole, I'm happy, I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm kept, I'm God's trust fund baby. I love you guys so much. Bye. I'll see you guys soon.